Hey everyone, my name is Matt Wolf, and I'd like to talk to you about the Bridgebuilder series, a trilogy of books, two of which I've already written, and I'm in the process of writing the third. Have you ever wondered what it would be like for a skeptic, a real intellectual, over-rational person, somebody who's too much in their head, somebody who overthinks and takes themselves way too seriously? Have you ever wondered what it'd be like for a person like that to have psychic experiences that they couldn't explain, that wouldn't go away, that kept encroaching upon this pristine little rational world they were building in their head? Well, that's what this series is about. In book one, A Skeptic in a Psychic Life, I'm talking about exactly that struggle. It's the first 41 years of my life, a time when I would continually try to reach out to the various institutions of our world, academic institutions, religious institutions, financial security, and all of that nonsense, and tried to establish a normal life, a way of living in this world that made sense and gave me all the rewards for jumping through all the flaming hoops. It didn't work. Because all of this intuitive material and psychic information kept coming through and challenging me to see the world differently. And so The Skeptic in a Psychic Life is a book about that struggle. As I was writing the book, trying to put together really an autobiography, new information was flooding in, making it really hard for me to write a book like this. You learn very quickly that writing an autobiography, if you really want to tell the truth, writing an autobiography is a hard book to write. And it's even harder when new aspects and new information and new ways of seeing everything is pouring into your mind as you're writing it. So in a way, A Skeptic in a Psychic Life is a book that also gives you a picture of a man trying to organize both the very rational and intellectual ways of experiencing himself and the world, and also trying to reconcile that with all the intuitive and psychic stuff that was coming in. And you can see in the book how I'm trying to create order out of this chaos, out of this constant conflict. And at the end of the book, some revelations come out that help tie everything together. A little bit crazy, but everything in the book is true. I worked very hard to make sure that I didn't embellish or use wording that at all colored things in a way that wasn't true to my experience. The second book in the trilogy is called Letting It Be. Whereas A Skeptic in a Psychic Life is all about this conflict and this fight. I don't really want to accept intuition and psychic phenomena in my life. Letting It Be kind of starts with the prospect of saying, okay, let's just let it be. Let's just assume that this is true. And let's jump in. So I jumped into various practices, workshops, trainings, coursework on psychic development, on metaphysics. Probably took over 100 hours of trainings. Got to know psychics in the local community of people who were metaphysical practitioners. And in writing Letting It Be, what I'm trying to do is share with you my experience of opening myself up and finally accepting this territory. And as I do that, I'm exploring meditation and working with crystals and talking to the dead and talking with interdimensional groups. As I'm doing this in Letting It Be, I'm getting lots of information about myself that's really kind of mind-blowing and difficult for me to accept. And so I'm trying to let it be, but what it is actually very big and expansive and challenging. It's very different from the way I'm used to looking at myself. And so Letting It Be follows that journey. It's more of Letting It Be is more of a collection of essays. Each chapter has its own topic. They aren't really a linear story in the way that A Skeptic in a Psychic Life is. And the information all builds and informs you so that you can digest the later chapters, which have a lot of challenging material, a lot of different metaphysics, history of Earth, history of myself, before Earth, and that sort of thing. That's a hint of where everything's going. A Skeptic in a Psychic Life is written as a linear story, and there's a development, whereas Letting It Be, as I say, is a collection of essays. And Letting It Be was even more challenging to write because as I'm opening myself up to the community and all these different trainings and all this different skill set that I'm building, I'm getting even more challenging information. And you can see again a man trying to write a book, trying to organize material as it's coming in. And in some ways it works, in some ways it doesn't work. But it's as the same with A Skeptic in a Psychic Life, everything in the book is true. I work very hard to be very truthful in what I'm writing, what I'm sharing. So if either of these books appeal to you, please feel free to give comments or suggestions or your feedback on them. If you have any questions about the material in the books and you'd like clarification, you may inspire me to write a blog post or do a video to address it. The third book I'm writing isn't titled yet, but it's going to tie these two books together. In other words, these books are sort of a snapshot of a guy trying to work it out as it's coming in. They are not the calm, reflective musings of a guy who's finally processed everything and come to some grand conclusion. They're really kind of rough and hard turns throughout these books. Whereas this next book I'm writing is going to be more reflective. I'm giving it time. I'm giving it years to come together, and so that all of these three books in the trilogy harmonize and you can really understand and digest them more easily. So that is the Bridgebuilder series by Matt Wolf, and welcome to my website, and please feel free to, again, reach out for any services you'd like or any questions or comments that you have. Thank you.